Most people think that stress comes from having too much to do or too many responsibilities, too many people demanding stuff of them, not having enough time, stuff like that. But actually, the destructive part of stress, what I've noticed, is that it comes from something different, something that we do mentally, something that we do so subtly that we almost don't even notice that it's happening. But the thing is, once you notice it, uh, the impact of stress softens and it reduces almost like immediately. You see, when stress shows up, the mind, for most people, the mind will do something to try to resist it and to get rid of it. The internal dialogue will be something like, I shouldn't be feeling this way. I need to stay calm. I need to get rid of this feeling. Some way of pushing away our experience, some way of rejecting what's happening here and now. And sometimes we think it's reasonable or even responsible to act that way. But the truth is, in order to manage stress, in order to really find out what's going on for us, it's about accepting and allowing the stress to be there. And as we do that, there's a different type of relationship with our lived experience that happens, a different type of relationship with life that happens. We're no longer trying to get rid of the tension by becoming more tense. Stress doesn't require us to fix it and get rid of it. It requires permission to just be, right? Not to spiral out of control, not to exist without fighting, but it's allowing it to be as it is, accepting the reality of stress in life. Right? There's a saying that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. And the suffering part of it comes when we're resisting reality and we think reality should be other than it actually is right now. So there's a Zen story or parable or metaphor. I think I first heard from Alan Watts, where it says that when we try to smooth out water with our hands, we just create more ripples. But if we just let the water be, there's a settling and organization that happens on its own, right? An equilibrium happens on its own. And that's a similar way with our bodies and our minds. When we don't get in the way, there's a natural self organizing, a natural relaxation and a calm that can come. So it's more about changing the way we relate to ourselves that can shift the stress experience and actually help us reveal a healthy next step in how to deal with the stress, not rejecting it, but understanding it and ultimately integrating it in a broader sense of our awareness and our experience. So let me make this a bit practical, right? Whatever you're doing right now, don't change your posture. Just notice your body here and now. Notice how you're feeling, starting in your chest, your throat, your jaw, and just noticing how I am right now. Just noticing if there's any tension or tightness. You know, can relate to it in a sense of allowing, and even say inwardly, "This is me allowing my experience to be what it is. This is allowing me to just be with my body, noticing the subtle softness. Don't try to create anything. Just notice." What happens a lot of times when I get people to notice their bodily experience for the first time, they'll notice that there's tension in their legs, their shoulders, their chest, and even their jaw. And just the experience of observing it, naturally, there's a letting go, right? That reminds me of the other story of the man who's carrying a bag of bricks, but he never looks inside to see what it is until a stranger asks him, "Hey, what's in that bag?" And the moment he opens the bag and looks inside and he sees that he's carrying around this useless bag of bricks, no one has to tell him to let it go. There's a natural letting go. So with our bodies, it's the same way, right? When there's tension in the shoulders that's not serving you, in the arms and the legs, nobody has to tell you to let go of the tension. There's a natural kind of like letting go that will happen through the increased awareness. So the next time you notice stress coming up, maybe you're at work, you're in traffic, there's a conversation with somebody, instead of doing your best to get rid of it, asking yourself or trying to push away, maybe broadening your attention and saying, okay, how can I let this be here without making it a problem? And that single shift, that single way of changing the way you relate to your body and you relate to your experience changes everything. So the key reframing here is like you don't have to overcome stress by defeating it. You overcome stress by no longer needing to, right? By changing the way you relate to it. And in that moment of changing the way you relate to it and allowing it to be there, your body remembers how to heal. You're breathing in a little bit softer, and openness happens. And then from that, a healthy next step forward can emerge. Hope this was helpful, and do your best to give this a try. You know, to look at stress as not something that you need to get rid of, but as something that you need to accept and allow it to be there. And in doing that, it's going to reduce itself, and there's a natural reorganizing that can happen when you change the way that you relate to stress in your body and your life, right? There's a healthy next step forward. There's a growth producing next step forward that can emerge by accepting in a grounded way. Again, hope this is helpful. Take care.